when that money is available per month, we're not going to just take that and go buy a new car with the extra 500 bucks and take that payment, because the opportunity cost behind that will be insane. We're going to take that $500 and we're going to put it back into the system, and we're going to get it to work. We're going to save. We're going to repeat the process, save it back into an opportunity fund. And when we have enough money in there, we're going to get our second investment, right? And now we're going to be up to, let's say, $800 per month. And this would be year 2. Like year 1 is from when you get to that point. But year 2, once you get started in this, I'm a big believer in the phrase, and I love this phrase, it's slow down to go fast. Sometimes if we slow down, i.e. save, and don't try to get these ungodly returns right away, and then we're allowed to go fast, because once you save, it can take you a little longer to get to this first investment, and you feel like you're missing out on opportunity with all these people in the markets and investing and so on and so forth. But once you get here, you're gonna blast past these people. Hey, what's going on, Cashflow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180, and for this video, we're gonna be talking about the 3 steps to create wealth. Now, this is really simple. I'm gonna take wealth building concepts and I'm going to break them down to their simplest components, eliminate all the noise, and I think help make sense of a lot of financial principles and organize them in a way that every single person in this world can execute on. Doesn't matter if you are a little more sophisticated and advanced. I think taking these and implementing them and simplifying your life is going to help you get faster results. And I think if you're on the other side of the spectrum and you are broke, you have maybe bad credit, you're in debt, utilizing these principles to get out of that debt, to start better habits, and to start implementing a better strategy. The one thing I'm a big believer is psychology is what runs our finances. It's what runs our financial life. It's what runs our entire life altogether. And so if you can understand the psychology that goes behind why you make the decisions with your money that you make, then you start to realize that you're kind of running on a hamster wheel here and you're playing by somebody else's rules. It's time to regain control of the results in your life by empowering yourself to go after and go after the results in your life by playing by a different set of rules, that you're actually in control of the results in your own life. And I'm a big believer, if you are where you are where you are because of who you are and what you've done and what you know and how you've shown up in life so far, right? And so what I know is that chances are you are not who you need to be where you want to be. And so it's going to take some growth behind that. And so my encouragement is stay tuned, because it's going to be fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over to my board here. All right, here we go. So check it out. So here's the deal. The first step to creating wealth is to save money. I know that sounds a little basic and a little simple, but I'm going to break it down for you. Save money. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by this is pay yourself first. Simple concept. First. Learn how to write, Chris. Okay. So this is a simple concept that I think everybody needs to implement. Very few people implement this concept. When you make $1, the first 10 to 20 cents of that dollar should be paid to you before it goes to anywhere else. And when I mean paid to you, I mean paid to your future, paid to a pile of money that puts you in a position so you can save that money. And that money needs to be put aside for emergency and for opportunity. Now remember, here's the deal. There's a lot of things going on in the world today, right? In the economy around us and all the things that are going on that are outside of our control. We don't know what's going to happen with the government. We don't know what's going to happen with inflation. We don't know where taxes are going. Nobody really has a crystal ball and knows what's happening with any of those. So that's always been my problem with traditional financial planning. It's not the fact that like the S&P doesn't return what it, like for the average person, what they're all marketing and telling you that it's going to return. I could show you hundreds of studies and facts that show, yeah, the average person doesn't get what the S&P tells you it will get you. For instance, long term, can it get you that? Sure, but human behavior, human psychology is what screws it up for people, whether it's your advisor or whether it's you. The bottom line is people are at the crux of this problem when it comes to finances, and that is what it is. So when we save money, we want to make sure we're saving money for emergency and for opportunity, And when you save that money properly, what you're doing is you're putting yourself in a position to be a good investor, right? And what is a good investor? Now, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, all these people that make a lot of money, these really good investors, they are good investors. I would say maybe some of them are more talented than others. Maybe some of them are better identifying deals and doing all that stuff. But more likely, the reason they're good is because they're set up to be good investors in the way that they save their money, in the way that they have their habits and behave with those assets. So now you're a good investor. And now what happens is, okay, now what we're doing now, because we have number one solidified and we've become this good investor, now what we can do is we can go to number two. And when we're going to invest, now we've set ourselves up for success. Now, instead of doing what Wall Street wants us to do, which is invest in mutual funds and ETFs and stuff of that nature, we're going to invest for cash flow. We're going to find cash flow assets. This is one of the reasons I like real estate. This is one of the biggest reasons that I wrote my book, Cashflow Hacking. I'm a big believer that cash flow investing is the key to success. And so here's the deal. When we invest for cash flow, think about this. I'm gonna just kind of take this and go out here and we're gonna talk about it for a second, okay? And so what we have here is, let's just take an average American household, okay? Household, not individual, but household, earning $100,000 a year. So what happens with that household, let's say that 25% of that, so $25,000 a year is covered with Social Security. So that means they have $75,000 a year right now that they need to live on, right? And so when we go, and I'm gonna do some math here. Well, I've already done math. We'll just go from this. So the average rate of inflation has been, since 1971 when we went off the gold standard, has been 3.92%. So let's just say 3% is the average rate of inflation. Okay? And so with inflation being 3%, if you do that, the rule of 72 means if you divide 3 by 72, it means every 24 years, the cost or the value of your money in this situation is going to be cut in half. So that means 24 years from now, this 75 is going to need $150,000 just to maintain the standard of living. Right? So now if we went 36 years, we could have this in 36 years. So that's 12, which is 36 years, which is 24 plus 12 is half of the 24. So it'll be half of that group. So we're looking at $225,000 just to maintain your standard of living. Okay? So when we implement the rule, the 4% rule, now I'm going to back this up because I did not do this ahead of time in good old fashion. So if we use the 4% rule on this $225,000, that means you need $5,625,000 in a retirement account. $5,625,000 in a retirement account just to maintain your standard of living and guarantee that you're not going to have to take a step backwards in retirement. Now, I don't know about you, and this is where I was going earlier, as far as psychology and how psychology runs every decision that we make in life, right? And especially with our money. So here's the deal. If you don't believe that you're going to hit $5,625,000, if your subconscious, more importantly, doesn't believe it, which, by the way, it's not going to believe it, because if you have $100,000 of income in a household and say the average is $50,000 per person, per spouse in the partnership in that relationship, for the husband, for the wife, you're looking at this being a situation where you've never probably even seen an actual $100,000 in your bank account. So let alone reaching that $5 million mark to get to where you need to be, it's just not going to happen. And so what we need to do is, instead of investing to try to get to that $5,625,000 mark, we need to stop doing that. And we need to say, okay, First of all, we don't know the variables that are coming to this, because we don't know 36 years from now. It's really hard to plan. 36 years ago, nobody would have guessed that we've gone through all the things that we have in the past 36 years, and nobody would have guessed the economy and the monetary printing and the stimulus and all these different things that have been going on in the economy would have happened. It's totally unprecedented. So nobody knows. We can't control these variables, but yet here we are. So rather than setting our sights on 36 years out, it's much easier if we set our sights on numbers that we can wrap our minds around and numbers that we can actually execute on. So what do I mean by that? By investing for cash flow, we're no longer trying to get after this big accumulation number. Now we're trying to say, well, what do we need if we're making $100,000 a year here as a household? What is that? That's $8,300 per month, right? So now as the family that goes out and invests for cash flow, this is a number that you can wrap your mind around, right? This is a number that you can believe in. This is the amount of money that you probably have at least paid for a car. You've paid that car off successfully. You believe in your ability to manage $8,300, whereas you don't believe in your ability to manage or accumulate or anything with $5 million plus, because it's just never happened in your life, right? And so now what do we need to do? We need to say, okay, $8,300, we can set a time frame of 10 to 15 years, right? And so maybe that 8,300 will grow, but if we invest for cash flow, we can kind of grow our expectations along the way as inflation environments change. And if we invest in the right assets like real estate, it's actually going to protect us against inflation, which we can actually plan for this number right now. And because real estate is an inflationary kind of protected asset long term, it's going to naturally grow, and you're naturally going to meet your needs, right? This is one of the most powerful reasons that people should do real estate, and I believe everybody should have some sort of real estate exposure. But here's the deal. Rather than invest for this number, let's start saving, right? When we saved here, right, up in this area here, we saved this money, we paid ourselves first, we have an emergency fund, we have an opportunity fund, and now we're going to use that opportunity fund to invest for cash flow. And now when we go to invest for that cash flow, we're going to take that and we're going to try to create, say, $200 to $500 per month with our first cash flow asset. That's all. That's all we're going to do. And then that is like literally target number one. If we can do that, now what are we doing? We're chipping away at this number here. We're chipping away at the $8,300. But the beautiful part is now what we're going to do is we're going to compound that money. So step number 3 is we're going to compound cash flow. Right? So when we compound that cash flow, this $200 to $500, when that money is available per month, we're not going to just take that and go buy a new car with the extra $500 and take that payment, because the opportunity cost behind that will be insane. We're going to take that $500 and we're going to put it back into the system, and we're going to get it to work. We're going to save. We're going to repeat the process, save it back into an opportunity fund. And when we have enough money in there, we're going to get our second investment, right? And now we're going to be up to, let's say, $800 per month. And this would be year 2. Like year 1 is from when you get to that point. But year 2, once you get started in this, I'm a big believer in the phrase, and I love this phrase, it's slow down to go fast. Sometimes if we slow down, i.e. save, and don't try to get these ungodly returns right away, and then we're allowed to go fast, because once you save, it can take you a little longer to get to this first investment, and you feel like you're missing out on opportunity with all these people in the markets and investing and so on and so forth. But once you get here, you're gonna blast past these people. It's like the tortoise and the hare. They're like the hare, they're going super fast, and then they're gonna hit a down market, they're gonna hit an economy, they're gonna crash, they're gonna take a nap at the tree. And because you're the tortoise, you're just gonna keep going along, and then boom, you're gonna get here, and what's gonna happen is you're gonna turn into a hybrid of the tortoise and the hare, because you're gonna have the safe foundation, you're gonna be built just perfect, and then you're gonna blast past them. That $800 a month is gonna go to $1,200 per month, right? In year 3. And then before you know it, year 4, you're going to be able to do more and more and more. That compounding of the cash flow is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So maybe you go to you know, 1,800, you take a bigger step there. But before you know it, by year 10, I'll say year 10 to 12, you should be in that $8,300 to $10,000 range. That's what you should be. So this whole idea that you need to go to school, get a job, work 40 years, save money, try to save up for this $5 million here is a bunch of BS. And I don't know why people buy into that story and that song about, you know, running on the hamster wheel and working really hard, paying your money manager 1 to 2% of your managed money fees while they're getting paid, creating an annuitized business, creating cash flow in their own business, while you're taking all the risk with their assets and they're getting paid no matter what. I believe it's one of the greatest scams of all time is the creation of money management fees and the fiduciary fee responsibilities. To me, that's a massive, massive, massive conflict with people's personal finances. That's just my personal belief. You can think what you want, but I think this compounding of cash flow following these 3 steps, save money, invest for cash flow, and then compound that cash flow, it's gonna get you where you wanna get much, much faster. Personal finances don't need to be more complicated than that. And so my encouragement is if you have any questions, comment in the comment sections below. I'll engage with everything I can. If you have any questions about how to implement a cash flow plan for yourself, my encouragement to you is go check out my book, Cashflow Hacking. Check out the book, Cashflow Hacking. It's in the link in the description below. You can get it for $8.95. I cover the cost of the book. You just got to pay the shipping and handling. You can go to Amazon, get it for 20 bucks. If you have any other questions, you can also set up a call with one of my certified Life 180 coaches. They will help you figure out how you can set up a cash flow investing strategy for your life. And that's it. So I hope that helps. I hope it makes sense whether you want to do real estate or you want to invest it in your business or you have some other way that you want to implement a cash flow investment strategy. We can show you how to set up the foundation of it just by going down below and setting up a call. So that's it. Have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk on the next video. Take care.